today I wanted to post or talk about one of my posts from last week, which was on Ikigai. It's a Japanese art form that repairs broken pottery with gold lacquer. And instead of trying to repair the pottery or the art to new, it highlights the cracks in the crevice, recognizing the beauty of those flaws, or so-called flaws. And so what I wanted to talk today about was this other Japanese terminology called Wabi Sabi, which is embracing imperfection or finding beauty in imperfection. And what I find so magical about that is that nowhere in the English language is there an equivalent word for Wabi Sabi. So finding beauty and appreciation for imperfection. And you think about American society, Western society in general, and how we're always striving for unending perfection. You looked at people's LinkedIn profiles, it's all about celebrations, job offers, getting an IPO. You see Facebook or Instagram, and it's all of these curated images of perfection, these curated lives. And recently a celebrity committed suicide, and on the surface he looked so happy, but it really kind of makes you understand that behind the veneers, behind the curated images of happiness and joy and perfection that you see on social platforms, people are suffering. And that's why I really love this concept of kintsugai and also wabi sabi. And then the third terminology, kancha, which is gratitude, but I'll talk about that another day, because it really digs deep into understanding that chasing perfection is futile because it doesn't exist. And unless you're a baker or a surgeon, you should not strive for perfection in your life, right? When you bake, you definitely need perfection, otherwise that souffle is going to fall flat. But, you know, and I think also a lot of us, especially type A, high achievers, have succeeded because of this notion of wanting to strive for perfection. I just did a training for a client last week as well, on the art of imperfection, and how perfectionism gets problematic is that we chase for perfection, and every time we get close to it, we move that finish line further and further. And so you see a lot of cases of depression, anxiety, just general unhappiness with perfectionists. And there's two types of perfectionism, maladaptive and adaptive. I'm talking about the maladaptive perfectionism, which really is this unending pursuit of perfection and not being happy with whatever you get. And that's a type of perfectionism that I had when I was growing up. And a lot of that was instilled by my family. I had immigrant families. I was raised in a Vietnamese household. We didn't have much, but my parents always wanted me, good intentions, to do well. So if I got an A minus, why didn't I get an A? If I got an A, why didn't I get an A plus? And it was kind of brought in, ingrained in me to keep on wanting more and more and more. And I think the issue with that is when you keep on chasing and you're never happy with what you have. And if you really think about that, that is the definition of lack of gratitude and happiness for what you have. Because what's the point of having perfection or having it all, but not being happy, right? So I guess the message or the learning for today is to understand that your flaws, what you think, your past pains, maybe it was a divorce, maybe you got laid off, that those cracks and crevices are actually making you stronger. They're making you more beautiful. Like the beautiful vase with kintsugai is more stronger, more beautiful, more resilient. And also with the concept of kancha, that you have to start seeing the beauty in imperfection. You're not always going to get everything perfectly done, but you strive. There was a Lombardi quote. What is it? Strive for perfection, because at least you'll get to greatness. I do believe in it at some point, but at some point you also have to kind of pause and just be grateful for what you have, to understand that the cracks and crevices, that the mistakes, that the failures are really an opportunity for you to learn and grow. And so those are the two kind of learnings for kancha and kintsugai today. Hope you liked this daily learning.